Right. Oh, we're live.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me and Denise, and we are Memphis. We are going to be talking about all things fashion and blogging and our careers and the great cities that we both live in.
Right. And clearly Kim's is much brighter than mine.
The secret is 2 selfie lights.
I just learned this trick today, y'all, so this way. Okay.
Where are we looking?
Kim, you want to start us off? You want to tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do?
Sure. So, everybody, if you have not met me before and I'm new to you, my name is Kim Thomas. The name of my blog is KP Fusion. I started my blog, actually, it'll be 11 years this month, next week. And I started mine as a creative outlet. Back in the day, I wanted to be a fashion stylist, and I knew that blogs are starting to become a big thing. And so I wanted to kind of use it as my own portfolio. And so I partnered with a couple of local photographers that were here to do shoots for my styling portfolio. But then I also used my blog to talk about just my thoughts around fashion and style. And so initially when I started, you never saw my face. Unless I went to an event and I took a picture with someone, I wanted to be behind the scenes. But as things continued to grow and I started to find an audience, people wanted to see me, and I started getting featured on different websites and things like that. And so over the years, it has evolved, and I no longer want to be a stylist, although I do still style. But it has now become a platform that allows me to share a different side of the city, because most people that see Memphis, they only know Elvis, barbecue, rock and roll, civil rights museum. But there's so much more to the city and the culture that we have. And so I try to use my platform to highlight small businesses, other creatives, places to go, things to see. And I still include my personal style, but then in the process of me evolving and wanted to have a better blog, I ended up picking up photography, took a class. Well, I always took pictures, but I actually learned how to use my camera. And for the last 5 years, I have actually been a full-time lifestyle photographer. And so I balance both of those things daily.
That's so awesome. Do you take pictures of other people?
Mm-hmm. I work with a couple of local boutiques, a couple of small businesses like Stock and Bell on the Square. I worked with another boutique called Southern Muse last year. I worked with 17 Berkshire. I work with other bloggers as well, like Carmion Hamilton. She's like my main client. And then I also work with David Quarles, Quita Tate, Andrea Fenice, and we have a whole community that's here. And so I have become like the unofficial photographer for most bloggers here. And then I take my own photos as well.
That's so cool. I do too.
And it's challenging.
Very. Those remotes are not.
They are. And it took me, I didn't get a remote for my camera until 2 years ago, when I spent one afternoon trying to take pictures for a campaign, running back and forth with the timer, and it was hot and it was summertime. And I said, you know what? I'll never do this again. And I found one on Amazon, and it's still a lot, but it's so much easier than just trying to run back and forth.
Agreed. Yeah, I have done the same thing. And sometimes you're like, oh, I got the shot. And then you go and you look at the camera and it's not focused. And you're like, okay, that's what we're doing. So.
I did that this past Sunday. I had a mini lifestyle shoot session at an Airbnb, and one of the girls that was supposed to come ended up canceling that morning because she got sick. And so I said, well, I'll be there, so take some photos of yourself as well. And that last hour and a half, whew, and that heat and changing clothes and running back and forth and heels and all that, it was a time. But the pictures came out cute. Finally.
It is no joke. People like underestimate it, but and the heat especially is like rough.
Oh, it's very rough. Like I'm so ready for fall to come. It is. I checked our weather app, and next week at the end, it's gonna get into the 70s, and I'm ready.
Oh, okay. It's like already 70s here. It gets to like 80 during the day, but in the morning it's like in the 70s. So
Oh, I'm jealous. I'm so jealous.
yeah, we still have humidity though. So it's like a balancing act, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're wearing different outfits during the day because of the varying temperatures right now. So
Right. You start the day in a jacket or a cardigan. By the end of the evening, you have on a tank top or tank dress.
yes. Yes, it's virtually the same here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me introduce myself. My name is Denise Kokinis. I am a fashion lifestyle, I don't know, everything based out of Chicago, Illinois. I started my blog 7 years ago. Yeah, 7 years ago this fall, in 2014. I had moved back from South Korea. I lived in South Korea for 2 years and taught English.
Okay.
And so I moved back in like end of August, beginning of September of 2014. And I had been like reading all these blogs while I had lived overseas because that's actually like how I shopped, because shopping in Korea when you're plus size is really a challenge.
Yeah.
So when I came home, I decided to start a blog. I was like, you know what? There's just like not a lot of curvy women that are blogging. Like I followed Pink Peonies and I followed all those like early OG
Mhm.
bloggers, but I would buy stuff off of their sites and I could never fit into it. Or just like it didn't look the same, right? Like
Yeah.
I'd get it, they're in a size 2 and I'm in a size 12 or 14. And I'd get it and I'd be like, ooh, this looks totally different.
Mhm.
And I had a camera because I had lived in Asia and I was traveling. And so I'd had like a decent DSLR. And so my dad actually started helping me just, for fun, would
Yeah.
go out and we would shoot photos like in the parks near me. Cause at the time it was just like, you just like shot wherever, right? Like you shot on sidewalks, you shot in the grass, like random places. And so we would go to like the parks, we would go to like near the train tracks, like random places
Yeah.
um, near where they lived, and just did random shoots. And actually for I want to say like 4 or 5 years of my blog, my dad was one of the main people, and my mom too, but mostly my dad, uh, helped me shoot all of my photos for my blog. And bless his heart, he had no idea how to work my camera and still doesn't. And so I would sit there and I would set everything, and
Mhm.
he would stand against, wherever we were, and I would click it to like check the lighting, and then we would switch, and then he would just move around
Mhm.
a little bit, or we'd have it on a tripod and he'd just click the button for me and I'd move back and forth.
Yeah.
And it was like our way to bond because I had been gone for so long, because prior to that I had lived in DC. So I was gone for quite a long time. And so that was kind of our way to bond. And then, yeah, it just kind of grew from there. I really grew my page fairly early on because Instagram was kind of taking off when I had started mine.
Mhm.
It was still the old school Instagram. You remember the blue and the orange and the
Yes.
very like old school version of Instagram. But it was taking off at that time. And so I have a blog and I still have one. I'm just not as active on it, unfortunately. But I really like capitalized on using Instagram and like learning how to use it and figuring it out. And I mean, you know this, and a lot of people who I'm sure follow us know this, but Instagram, the algorithm was extremely different at that time. I don't know if you remember this, but they had that search recommended page where you'd go on and they'd have like, here are people we recommend to you.
I remember.
Yeah, and I had been featured on that a few times, and so that's kind of how I had grown my following. And then I worked with some like larger brands, and it really just like propelled my growth for a few years. And
Mhm.
just I really got lucky, right? Like I worked with Eloquy really early on when they were brand new. I worked with Meyer grocery stores. I worked with some like really things that like propelled me into what I am today.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at today, except my style has literally gone like day and night from 7 years ago. I
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the same for you, Kim. But like following blogs for so long, I would try to like emulate the style of some other bloggers, even while I was blogging. And at the time, a lot of it was like thinner white women. And so I was emulating stuff that they were doing, and it just didn't look the same. It didn't feel the same. And I really feel like it wasn't until like maybe 2 years into blogging where I really found my own sense of personal style and my own way to make things creative and make things fun, and like find plus size brands and find curvy brands that really like stuck out, that helped me like really evolve my personal style.
Yeah, that's the same for me. When I actually started my blog after a friend, like I've been on Twitter since I think 08, 09. And this girl, we've never met each other in person, but one day in 2010 in August, she recommended a blog for me. She was like, hey, I think you, since I know you like fashion and stuff, I think you may like this. And it was Cupcakes and Cashmere, Emily Schumann.
Also one of the people I used to follow too, yeah.
And so when I followed her, I would go to work and come home, and I would go through, I went from the current season all the way back in her archives just to see the way that she blogs. And she was like one of the top ones that blend fashion and, you know, food and lifestyle. And so her site gave me the courage to know, hey, you don't have to try to talk like you're writing for Vogue or anything like that. You can just be yourself. And once I realized that, it took me a minute to officially get there, but that always stayed in the back of my mind that, you know what, just be yourself. And over time, as I started to grow and my thoughts around what I wanted to do for my career changed, that started to change my personal style. And I looked to bloggers for inspiration, but I was like, you still need to dress for yourself and for your actual lifestyle, because some of the things that they're wearing, it just wouldn't make sense with what you're doing, or it's not really you.
Exactly. Where do you feel like you draw your inspiration from?
Now, but actually just being out and about in the city. I love to people watch because I'm naturally an introvert, and which I think a lot of bloggers are, truthfully.
Yeah. No, I'm an introvert, but I also like to people watch. So
I can turn it on when I need to, and if I'm in a good space. But I can also go somewhere and never talk to a soul, and I'll be like, oh, I had the best time at this event. But just being out, people watching. I still read magazines. I still read like Harper's Bazaar and Marie Claire and things like that. And so I try to pull a little bit from everyone. And then there are a couple of bloggers that I do still follow. And then I'll go to Pinterest and things like that. But I just try to, now it's based more so on my day-to-day, since I do photography. And I'm always running around. So comfort plays a big part, but I still like to look put together when I'm out and about.
Okay.
What about for you?
Yeah, I'm very big on like seeing what people are wearing when they're out. I like to get like, I don't know a better word for it, but I like to get a little weird with my fashion sometimes. So I'll mix like a lot of colors. I don't really do like the pattern mixing so much. Like it's usually like one pattern for me. But I still like things to be bold. I like things to be a bit brighter. I am muted and I can mute, but I'm a little all over the place. Like I'll wear heels one day and sneakers the next. And so I try to have my fashion be like a little bit of everything, which I feel like sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. You know, a lot of my inspiration comes from me just like thinking things in my head. I'm sure we all do this, right? Like I think it in my head. I'm like, this is going to be bomb. And then you're about to go to an event and you put it on and you're like,
wait, this isn't proportions, or this isn't, let's start over.
All of it, right? Yeah. So I usually start with like one piece that I'm like, I know I want to wear this. So for me, it's either like a dress or it's a pair of shoes, or it's something that I'm like, I know this is what I want to wear. And I try to balance it around that. So at least if like the outfit doesn't work, at least I can like try something else.
I looked through your, I know you said you don't update your blog as much, but I went through your Instagram and looked on your blog, and I love the way that you do have a very bold style, but it's so well put together and it's still approachable, if that makes sense, to where I can look at what you wear and I can be like, oh, that's different, but I could actually pull something like that off. And it doesn't like I feel like sometimes, especially in the curvy plus size arena, it can turn costuming because we're trying to stand out. I don't feel like you need to do that. You can have great style without piling a whole bunch of things on or playing around with really crazy silhouettes. Like everything should still be in proportion for your body. And I feel like you do a really great job of it. Even when you're layering pieces, it just flows really well together.
Thank you. Yeah, what's funny is I know we're gonna speak to this later because we created a Pinterest board for y'all to look at and like take some inspo from. But I was thinking about that because I was trying to be very cognizant of like what I was pinning, and I was trying to pin mostly plus size women or curvy women, and I know you were as well when you were pinning that stuff. But I noticed that the curvy fashion and like the plus size fall fashion is lacking on Pinterest. I mean, it is like, and if it is, it was like ugly, like LuLaRoe type of shirts for 2021. And I'm like,
it's either that or everyone was literally wearing like either they were doing a suit or it was a pleated maxi dress with some type of top, which I will wear that. I have worn that, but trying to find just so many different styles, it was actually hard, and not repin the same people over and over and over.
Yeah, and it was like the same like 5 or 6 people. You're 100% right. And it was the same like 5 or 6 like big people that I feel like you kind of see everywhere in the plus size and curvy community. So yeah, same thing. I was really having a tough time trying to find different people and like different body types too, because even that was like you look up like plus size and you get the girls who model for like Pretty Little Thing, and some of them aren't even technically plus size. And so, yeah, it's really difficult.
It's an hourglass shape.
Yes.
Always hourglass, to where I'm like, you're plus size. You're technically plus size because of the sizing that you wear, but you're really not. And I'm like, not, and that's not to take away from anybody's body, but I just wish that there was more representation of all of the different shapes that you have that fall up under the curvy girl umbrella. Like I know for myself, I'm thicker through the middle. I don't have a tiny waist, so I have to be careful with the things that I wear, or I'll look like a box. And so I try to, just find things that fit. But I also try not to buy pieces that are too big because I don't know how tall you are, but I'm 5'3".
Same.
So sometimes some pieces that are technically considered plus size can be too big, and it'll just overpower your shape. And so I try to pay attention to I literally try everything on before I buy it, just to be safe, because I never want to put on anything that changes to the way that my body actually looks. Like I like to enhance it, but I never want to look dowdy or frumpy when I go out.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've actually had this conversation with people before, including like people in my DMs.
Before you finish, I can't believe that you're 5'3", because from your pictures, I thought you were way taller than that.
I know. You know what? Most people say that, but it's really the angles, I swear, because then people meet me in person and they're like, what?
Yeah. And see, in my head, I'm tall, but I know that I'm not.
Oh, in my head too. I wear heels a lot though too in a lot of my photos to give me that length. Because I can really, like, depending on the angle, really appear stumpy. And like the best way is like when you look at my stories and you watch my outfit of the days is when I really like look short, because it's like, that like straight on angle, that selfie mirror angle. But talking about fit, it's interesting because I have these conversations with people a lot. And I think there is this feeling that like we're plus size, a lot of our stuff shouldn't be so fitted. And I am the complete opposite. Like this is loose, but it's still tucked in, and like I probably would belt it if I were to wear it with something else. But a lot of my stuff I will size down in, or I will get tight, because for me, like the second I start wearing things that are unfitted, I look 20 pounds heavier.
I'm the same. Like I have a couple of pieces that I knew going in, they're going to be a little bit oversized. They're going to be a little bit more drapey. And I kind of like go with that. But for the most part, I tried, like my jeans are going to always be fitted. Even my girlfriend or boyfriend jeans, they're not going to fit in the traditional loose way that most people wear them, because it will just add 10 to 15 pounds to where I won't like the way that my body balances out, especially if I look at myself in the mirror in pictures.
Yeah.
So I day to day, my normal size is between a 14 to a 16, depending on how it's cut. But I've sized down all the way to a medium. I have some kimonos that are like extra small just to take away some of that bulk. A lot of times in dresses, I do an extra large, but I may size down to a large, depending on how it's cut, to take away some of that bulk, and it just fits me better.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. And I think I think there's a lot of people who are on that cusp, at least for me, like the people that follow me, a lot of those women that I've spoken to are on that cusp where like they can wear plus, but they can wear straight size. And I think across the board though, it's tough, right? Like speaking back to that Pinterest board, I was trying to find women that were bigger than me to pin, and that was almost impossible too. Like finding a woman past the size 18, 20 to pin on Pinterest was like, there was like nothing.
And I don't know why that is, because I know that there are other plus size bloggers out there. So I wonder if they're just not utilizing Pinterest, or is it the algorithm playing against them to where it's only showcasing certain body types?
I mean, I really think it's the algorithm that's me, because I think back to things like TikTok where they've literally proven that they've suppressed fat bodies on TikTok. And that's like a whole other conversation, right? But yeah, no, I was trying to do that too, because I do have followers that are larger than me. And I always try to say like, oh, okay, hey, you need somebody who's like, an 18, 20, let me give you some blogger recommendations. But if I'm ever to like have to find images online, it becomes a lot harder to do. And so a lot of times I'll just defer them or refer them to other bloggers, because there's like not enough images online.
They're not. And that's typically what, if someone asks me for recommendations or they're looking for other people to follow within that realm, I just, here goes some bloggers, because I know that at least they're stylish. They're shopping from a full range of places, and they may be able to get some inspiration from there.
Exactly.
Ooh, we got a question. Tell us about. You want to go first?
No. Go ahead. Read it. I was just about to read it.
Let's tell us about some of your biggest setbacks when starting out and building your brand as a fashion influencer. How did you overcome them? I knew for me, being based in Memphis, because it's not a fashion capital, and even though it's a large city with a small town mentality in the way that it operates and flows, and blogging was so new when I started, of course I got the questions, well, what's a blog? What does that mean? What are you doing? And so I knew when I started, it would be hard for me to grow, but I had an idea about what I wanted to share with people. And so that has always stayed at the forefront of my mind. I want to share, I want to inspire, and this is the internet. And so use that to my advantage and that's what I've been able to do over the last 11 years, because even though I don't have a huge following, I've been able to work with brands like Ulta, Shopbop, Lane Bryant. I got to go glamping with NASCAR 2 years ago. Like, I've been able to do so many things that someone that has a way larger platform has, and I've been toe to toe with them. And it's because of what I have to say. And I continue to try to put out quality content that will either educate or inspire people.
I love that. One of my biggest setbacks was when I first started blogging. I had come back from Korea, and I had lost actually a lot of weight when I was in Korea. I'd lost I want to say about 30, 40 pounds while I was there. I walked everywhere. The diet was very different. But I had come home from Korea, convinced that I was the fattest person on the planet, right? Because the way they treat people that are even remotely bigger than them is very different, right? And it's not everybody. It's just a very different mentality. And so when I came home, I was like convinced that I was this big person. And so that's part of the reason I started blogging. And so when I actually had started blogging, I was about 40 pounds lighter than I am now. So I was actually more straight size than I was plus size. I was still curvy. So I was still like a 10, 12, sometimes a 14, but I had a really tough time labeling myself. And I know that sounds crazy, but like in the blogging world, like you were either plus or you were straight. Like there was no in between. And so one of the biggest things for me, and it took me like years to do this, not even like months, like years, was to really like figure out where I was and really like hone in on that part, because I had actually started pitching plus size brands, and I would actually get feedback like, oh, you're too small. Like, I don't think you're plus size. I mean, now I'm much more visibly plus size, but at the time I got this feedback like, oh, you're not big enough for us. But then I remember there were a few brands that I tried to work with that were basically like, we don't think we carry your size. Wow. Like they carried extra large, but they would be like, we don't carry your size. So for me, one of my biggest
wasn't a real extra large. It was probably the equivalent to a medium large, but that's a whole another conversation.
Right. But like, I mean, imagine saying that to somebody. So for honestly, for years, like I would say until like maybe even like 3 years ago, I really like didn't know where I fit in. And sometimes I still don't totally like know where I fit into it. So that's why I kind of just do my own thing.
Where did you all find curvy community? All of my friends are straight size, and though we have amazing experiences, things like shopping, eat out, traveling can be different as a curvy girl.
You know, that is one of the biggest struggles I think that a lot of plus size women have, because a lot of my friends are straight size too. And through blogging, I've been able to grow my community of plus size women. But I can relate to this a lot, and I'm sure you can too. I have a very tough time being around a big group of straight size women, especially smaller women, because you always get that I look so fat today, I feel so fat today sort of comments, or you're not fat, you're beautiful. So I would say like for the curvy community, even though I'm in blogging and like I met people while I was out, I sought people out. I literally like hit up people in DMs like, hey, you want to hang out? Like, I don't care. But for me, I know I'm in blogging, but I would say like, don't be afraid to hit people up. Like, don't be afraid to just seek somebody out and be like, hey, you know what? I noticed you were curvy. Like, I'd love to chat about that, or I'd love to grab coffee, or, something like that. And even if it's like a blogger that you follow or an influencer that you follow, I would say like reach out to them, because you never know what can happen. I mean, there are plenty of people that are willing to meet for coffee or willing to chat about that sort of stuff that you just may never know.
Yeah. I'd say for me, being in the South, you naturally become friends with women that are curvier. I do have some friends that are smaller, some of them that are very petite, size 0, size 00. But I think because I've always been a bigger kid. Like even growing up, I was always bigger than the girls that I went to school with. Like they may be a size 3 or 5. I was a 9, 11, 13. And so I just did my best to find things that I liked. And so over the years, just mentally, I've made it to where it didn't affect me. And if I go into a store, if I can find something, yay. If I can't, that's just not the store for me. Or I would look at like the accessories or things like that to see if I could find something. But for my friends, if any of the smaller ones ever make comments about their weight, I throw it back at them because they don't realize, sometimes they don't even realize what they're saying. So if someone's like, oh my God, I look so fat. And I'm like, well, if you look fat, what am I? And then they're stunned. And it's like, wait, I need to be conscious of what I'm saying, because for someone that had a weaker spirit, that could really hurt them. But for me, I'm just like, think about what you're saying to people, because you don't know how that may affect their self-esteem. It doesn't affect mine, but it could affect or hurt somebody else. It may not even be curvy, but because you're saying this about yourself, and in the world, in society, you're someone that has a perfect body, but you're talking down on yourself.
Also, really quick, the girl who wrote that comment, Brittany Walsh, she has actually lived in Memphis for a very long time, but she's originally from here. I just recognized the name. So she lived in Memphis. We were actually chatting about this yesterday, about how We Are Memphis was doing this project. She's plus size. She's amazing. She has 3 children. She's like unreal. And I've known her since middle school. So it was just, kind of cool to see that connection.
Let's see, Carla Lewis. I find style to be instinctual, but I'd like to teach style to other women, teach them how to dress. How can I work on teaching style, or how can I communicate style to others? I know for me, it's about learning the fundamentals. For years, I worked in retail since I was 16. Before a period of time, I did work at Banana Republic for 5 years. And one of the things I'm so grateful for is that we had to learn so much about fit across the board for everyone, the different body types, how to put things together, fabrications, and all those types of things. And so I think that initially you have to learn the fundamentals so that you do know what to recommend. And then after that, look at the different archetypes that come to style, because most of us pull from classic, from edgy, from feminine, from girly. These are things that they're going to be in place to the end of time, but your personal style is going to be different based on what you do, your body type, what you're into, how things fit on you. All of that will play a part in that. But if you learn those fundamentals of fit, you will then know how to teach according to what that person that you're trying to help actually needs, versus just giving a blank slate of, let's talk about style, and you only speak from one perspective. You can talk about style in general, but then you can tailor it to fit that individual person.
Yeah, and I would say a reminder that you are your best seller, right? So for me, like when I go out, if I go to an event, I'm always the overdressed one. Okay, let me put that out there. But I have found throughout the years that like me being the overdressed one and me being the one who's like curated everything that I'm wearing, I'm my best seller. Like people come up to me and ask me what I'm wearing and like, can I help them? And do I have an Instagram and can they follow me? And, this happened before I even had a big following, but I would say like, put yourself out there. So like for Carla, she said style is instinctual to her. Put it out there. Shoot, wear it to Target, because people will come up to you and they will talk to you. And even if your following is big or small, I don't think it matters. But like having something where you're showcasing it besides just in person. So even if you're just putting your outfits in stories, or you're putting your outfits on Facebook, or wherever you're putting them, like having yourself as your selling point, I think is the best way to do it.
And to add to that, I will say share why you put those pieces together. Like what inspired you to create that outfit? What were you feeling? What were you saw? Like you said, when you build your outfits, you pick one piece that's like, I'm going to build around this because this is what I want to showcase. And I think that when you're able to talk to that, that is what will set you apart from, especially if you're trying to teach, it'll set you apart from other people who are just sharing what they wear. A person to know, okay, I can get more knowledge and education from them because they're sharing why, and I can start to do those things myself.
Yeah. Oh.
What tips do you have for those looking to work on their own self-confidence?
I talk about this a lot on my stories, especially in the last year or two, because I have really had to work on my self-confidence. And I think to an extent we all have, especially with this pandemic. I think it's really changed a lot of things for a lot of us. And, I hate to bring it up, but I think self-confidence for a lot of us has really changed from 2019 to where we are now. But the one thing I tell everybody, and I say this on my stories, and I say this in my posts, and I say this consistently to people, is your body is your body today. So like, if you want it to look different, that's great, but it's not going to look different today. It could look different tomorrow. It could look different 2 months from now. It could look different a year from now, but your body is your body today, and you can either wake up and accept it, or you wake up and not accept it. And for me, I came to a point where I said, I'm going to wake up every day and accept where I'm at today. Maybe I'm less weight, maybe I'm heavier, maybe I'm bloated, maybe my body looks banging today, but not tomorrow, but I'm still going to accept it. So for me, it is waking up every single day and saying, this is my body today, and I'm either going to waste a day of being upset about it, or I'm going to live in my body today and like know that it's banging.
I love that. I know for me, it is waking up every day, like you said, and loving yourself and loving on yourself. Finding the beauty in yourself, whether it's a body part, your mind, whatever. You have to be comfortable, learn to be comfortable with who you are as a person and like yourself. Because if you don't like yourself or where you are, none of the changes that you may want to make about yourself will actually affect anything. Because you can change yourself externally. You can go on a diet, you can get, plastic surgery, change your hair, whatever. But if you don't love the person that you are, none of that is going to matter, and you will still be unhappy. I was brought up to have pretty high self-esteem, to where
Love it.
I love myself. And if you don't like me, or if there's something about me that you don't mesh well with, okay. As long as it doesn't affect how I navigate through the world, I am fine with that. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm somebody's cup of coffee.
I love that. So. And, I always tell people too, there's always like that one outfit or that one piece that you put on that makes you feel really good. Mm-hmm. So for me, I actually do this sometimes. Like if I'm about to go out and I'm really not kind of like, we all have our off days, right? I will sometimes put on that piece or that outfit just to like remind myself that I'm that bitch.
Yes.
But I sometimes will put on that piece to like remind myself, and then change and be like, oh yeah, it's the same person.
Right. It's like, it's just, different look, but it's okay. But I do the same thing. I have those go-to where I'm just like, you know what? I'm not feeling this. Let me put this on, because no matter what, I always look good in this. And that will instantly change the way that I feel about things.
Yeah. And honestly, like if you need to rework that piece, you know what I mean? If it's a pair of pants or if it's a dress, rework it. If that's what's going to make you feel good, shoot, wear that and like put on a blazer or put on a belt, or like just change up that outfit a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Questions. Are we doing the little like styling part? I guess we're doing the next part.
Segue into us talking about accessories.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Yeah, go for it. Oh, you know what? I know they had some like curated conversation about it. So one of it was, what are your top 3 favorite style tips?
Ooh, my top 3 favorite style tips. Find colors that are flattering to your skin tone. And you can stick with that. You don't have to wear everything under the sun if it doesn't make you feel comfortable. Always wear accessories. always wear accessories. What else? And love yourself so that you feel confident with everything that you put on.
Yeah, mine is definitely accessorized. When I tell you I have necklaces, okay? I be layering them. Yeah, my top 3 style tips are definitely accessorized, which I know we're going to get into. Definitely accessorized. Like, look, there are plenty of websites. You're like your local beauty supply shop. When I tell you that's where I get all of my hoop earrings, that is where I get almost all of them. They're like 3 for $1. Mm-hmm. That's where I get a lot of my pieces. There's a lot of really good vintage markets that have really good accessories that you can get. But yeah, definitely accessorize. top 3 style tips. Yeah, accessorize. I would say another one is, for me, is like find brands that you like.
Yeah.
So, you know, I do shop all over the place, but there are definitely brands that I wear more because I know my sizing, I know the fit, I know that when I get it, the quality is going to be good. So there are definitely like knowing brands for me, and like wearing certain brands helps me feel a lot better and helps me put things together a lot better. And I would say my third style tip is like, don't be afraid to go out, because that's how I was for a long time. I really tried to emulate what other people were wearing. And it really wasn't until I stepped outside of that and kind of just did my own thing and was like, you can wear sneakers, you can wear heels, you can wear Doc Martens, you can kind of like wear whatever you want. And so a lot of my Instagram is really a testament to that, of like, yo, today I'm wearing Jordans and tomorrow I'm wearing these Fendi heels, right? It's like, don't be afraid to just try it, because chances are it's going to work.
You know, you are so right about that. So last year I fell in love with combat boots. I have been wearing some forever, but I wasn't sure that I could pull them off, because I always say that my style is classic with a twist. I have certain parameters that I kind of live in because I just like the way that I look. I'll play with color and different silhouettes, but I have my tried and true styles that I go with. But I just kept seeing people wearing docs all the time. I was like, you know what? Before I invest in these, let me see what Amazon got. And I found a pair on Amazon. And when I tell you, I had to tell myself, you cannot wear these every single day, because I fell in love with them so much.
They're comfy.
Oh my God. And I'm like, why did you wait so long to get these?
Yes.
And so
you know what's funny is docs are great for fall, but they work year round. They work in winter. I mean, I know Memphis doesn't really get a winter like Chicago does, but you can wear them in winter. I mean, you could wear them in the snow because the thread on those things is like intense.
Yeah.
But they go with everything. I mean, they're great with tights. They're great with socks. They're great with jeans. They're great with skirt. Like, they really, really pair well with so much. And I really don't think they're unflattering on anybody. I think it's just finding how they work for you.
Mm-hmm. Like, I love mine with, you know, floral dresses. I have some denim that I would always pair them with, but I was kind of mad at myself for waiting for so long, because I was like, do you know what different outfits you could have worn if you would have just, you know, jumped on a boat instead of thinking, oh, I can't pull these off. And it's like, now you literally can't pull them off. You want to wear them all the time.
Yeah. And, you know, I have a lot of sneakers. And I've actually had a lot of sneakers for years, but for years I like didn't really wear them because I thought like, oh, they're outside of my niche. Like, I don't normally wear them, so why would I wear them? And so, you know, in the last like year or two, I really, really started wearing them because I have a pretty big collection and I really like them. But for me, they are like my favorite thing, like my favorite accessory. And a friend of mine turned me on to this page called Thick Laces, which is actually a page where it's all plus size and curvy women that wear sneakers. Because I have found that like, if I'm trying to like find outfits on Pinterest with sneakers, it's really all like thin white women, which is kind of really not where sneaker outfits originated from. Yeah. So I really try to like go on Instagram and find some people who are really like hitting it with those outfits, because that's, I think they're great year round too, in addition to combat boots.
Yeah, I have one pair of white sneakers, but I still haven't gotten on that trend. Although this past spring I did do a maxi dress with a denim jacket and white kicks, and I was like, oh, this is my model off duty going to the museum.
Love it.
Do you ever, when you're putting your outfits together, do you ever like pick out a role for what you're going to be doing today for that outfit?
Yes. Yes.
I'm like, yes.
And see, like for me, like even if I look busted, because I promise you when I go to Target and Trader Joe's, I look busted, right? But we get to wear a mask, so I mean, we have to wear a mask. So like, really, you know, you can cover up most of what you're trying to cover up. But I always try to still wear something, even if I look busted. I try to wear like a cool pair of shoes, and like for me, it's sneakers when I go shopping or do that, because somebody's always gonna be like, "Oh, like I love your shoes." Yeah, so that's definitely like the role thing for me, is like, how can I like still look normal or like put together? Because our winters are cold here too, so I always do like a crazy coat. Even if like I'm wearing like an ugly sweatsuit, I'm like, oh, at least my coat is cool.
Yeah. How cognizant are you when you go out that you are a fashion blogger? How does that affect does it affect you at all when you leave the house?
Um, when I go to like events, yes. When I am dating, very much yes, because I'm very single and dating is such a nightmare, but that's another topic. But when I go to events and stuff, but when I am doing like regular things, I try to turn it off, except for the fact that, you know, this, like you have to be on, like you're posting on stories, you're sharing things, you're doing polls. And so sometimes it hits me, especially like when people are like, hey, we want to see more of your day. And I'm like greasy and my hair is like 3 days unwashed and I'm going to Trader Joe's and people are like, we want to see your day. And I'm like, no, but you really don't. Like,
I'm not doing what you think that I'm doing.
Right. So that's when I think it's more of a reminder, is like, oh shoot, like I need to be on. But I would say like I'm really mostly cognizant of it when I have to go to something where it involves work. I've tried to turn it off because I feel like sometimes I really need to disconnect. What about for you?
That's how I am. I'm comfortable going out where I may not have my makeup done or things like that.
Okay.
I try not to look like I rolled out of the bed, but I'm comfortable being out where if I might just have on like some sweats or jeans and a tee, and it's not so much, oh, I'm a blogger. Although even with the mask on, especially now since I have braids, people will recognize me, and that happened. And I had something happen to me years ago. I was sitting in Starbucks, and I actually ended up writing a blog post about it. I was sitting in Starbucks on my computer, and a guy was sitting there, and he was asking me, you know, what was I writing about? And I told him, I was like, oh, I'm a fashion blogger, so I'm writing on my blog. And he was like, well, you're not fashionable. And I was like, excuse me? And he was like, well, I mean, you're not dressed this way. And I was like, because I'm sitting in a coffee shop.
Of course it was a man. That's fine.
Right. First of all, it was a man, but you know, it prompted me to go, you know, is style subjective? And that's what I ended up writing a blog post about, because it was like, what do people think a fashion blogger looks like? Like in their mind, if they're saying that you're a fashion blogger, how are you supposed to dress? And how many of us actually do fall into that stereotype? And I feel like now, just because people are so much more comfortable in their skin and their personal style, that it's not such a big thing anymore, because there's so many different categories of fashion bloggers now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's so many. And I think it speaks to like the relatability part, because for me, like, you know, even being bloggers, like we feel like we have to be on, but I feel like, especially, you know, I can't speak for men because I'm not a man, but I know for women, I feel like there's so much pressure to be on all the time. And I mean, I felt this pressure like when I used to work a 9 to 5, I had my makeup done every day, my hair done every day. I was waking up, you know, 4:35 a.m. to do my hair, do my makeup, shower, you know, put on heels. I worked in schools and I was wearing like 4 and 5 inch heels to schools, right? Because I was a psycho. But like, there was just like so much pressure to be on. So I do think sometimes like I've really embraced this like part where I talk on my stories and I don't wear makeup and my hair looks crazy and I'm in this like crazy lighting, right? Because this lighting is garbage. But I really think that like embracing that and like showing it to people and saying like, hey, you don't need to be on all the time is really important.
I do, like, be comfortable with being yourself when you're out. It's like, if I don't have to put makeup on for every single thing that I do, and I'm fine with that.
Yes. All right, let's talk accessories. I know we're getting towards the end of this. So I know that originally we were going to share outfits. We decided for y'all instead. We have a Pinterest board. We pinned a bunch of stuff to it. I'm sure we'll continue pinning to it, but we are going to share the link with y'all. Anybody who RSVP'd will have the link. And we pinned, I know Kim and I both pinned a whole bunch of outfits. Some of us, we pinned accessories. And then we were just going to take a few minutes to talk about some accessories, specifically for fall, but just in general. I know we touched on them. So okay. You want to start? I mean, I can see yours. So I'm like, you want to start?
So I'm going to start with, I'm going to start with jewelry.
Love it.
My core jewelry is gold jewelry because I love wearing gold hoop earrings, bracelets, rings, necklaces. That's like my go-to. But I do like to invest in fun, playful earrings. So like these that I have on, I love the color, and I knew that they would like pop against this dress. They're from a local boutique called Mimi Morton. She sources the best costume jewelry. Like it's all of her earrings and everything is so fun. She's one of my clients, but even if she wasn't one of my clients, I would shop from her because the earrings are always so fun. But I find jewelry at Forever 21, Walmart, Target, Old Navy, everywhere. And then a secret is that I to find more higher end jewelry, and especially if you're somebody that wants something a little bit nicer but on a budget, is ShopBop. They mark down a lot of their accessories from time to time to where you can find some really great pieces that would initially be like 50 to 60 bucks that are like marked down to like 10 to 15. And that's where I've been able to find a lot of statement jewelry, but I also go to the beauty supply store and everything. And so for fall, I just say go everywhere. Like I have these little statement ones.
Those are fun.
These are from Mimi Morton. I found these jewel encrusted ones at J. Crew, which I have worn these with just a white tee and denim just to add a little bit of sparkle. These are some babies that I have had for years that I found at the beauty supply store. They were like $2, and they just pop up against any outfit. And then these are some additional ones that I found at ShopBop. I can't remember what brand they are, but I really wouldn't even be so focused on the brand, but more so on what type of styles that you want to add. There's a blogger that I follow. Her name is Monroe Steele, and she is the one that actually got me into wearing more statement earrings, because every outfit that she would wear, she would have these big, huge earrings on. And I was like, you know what? Play around a little bit, step away from the gold hoops. And over the last couple of years, I've built up a really big collection of those.
I love it.
Okay.
I am also a big fan of gold jewelry all year, all of it. I'm like notorious for layering it. I will layer like 5 or 6 necklaces because I just do not care. But I'm also a big proponent of layering silver and gold. I wear silver and gold jewelry all the time. I will throw in like a silver piece here and there. When I do necklaces, I'll layer silver and gold together. When I do rings, I'll do the same thing. I wear rings a lot. For me, I am like really hard on my jewelry. I travel with it a lot. I do photo shoots with it a lot. So I buy a lot of inexpensive. This is actually a piece I found. It's a vintage St. John Day piece. And it's really cool because it like clips, so you can make it longer and shorter. I found this at like a local vintage market a few years ago.
It's beautiful.
The backwards is really throwing me off. But yeah, for me, like a lot of my jewelry is inexpensive. I have a few expensive pieces here and there. Like I have this ring that I made with a local jeweler here for my 30th birthday. Like this is slightly more expensive, but generally speaking, most of my jewelry is from Shein. I know not everyone's a fan of Shein, but I love it for jewelry.
I found some jewelry, sunglasses, and handbags.
Their necklaces are like $1.50. They're a really great go-to for me. I actually find that most of their pieces do not turn for me, at least. Some of their rings do, but I feel like rings for most places do. H&M is another really great one if you need pieces. You mentioned Forever 21 is great, but like local beauty supply stores, I'm telling you, you don't even need to go to get hair. Go in there. They have really good jewelry, especially if you just want some gold hoops or if you want some like good rings. They always have some really good stuff and it's really inexpensive. You're supporting a local business, which is really cool. So,
what else? So for the next accessories, I love cute little handbags. And I know that like I probably, which you probably have a lot as well, just being a blogger and trying to switch your looks up. And so I love finding interesting bags that I can pair with just really simple outfits. Like this is actually which I got from Shopbop on sale for like $60. I love this little jewel encrusted one for nighttime. Hold on, what brand is this? Oh, this is Sam Edelman, Shopbop. Got it on sale, and it's a really great weight, and it's fun for. I will wear it with like jeans and like a button down, but I can wear it dressed up as well for nighttime. Yeah. This other little red one, pop of color. This was Shopbop as well. You can notice a thing, Shopbop, because I would just find stuff on sale, and then Shein for like $6. And I love the color. And this bag is the same quality as ones that I've seen in H&M and Dillard's, but it's just for a fraction of the cost. Because I think people don't realize with Shein, they're like a black label place to where a lot of their pieces, a lot of stores will buy stuff from them and then just put their own label on it. So it's hit or miss to where you can get, because I do have another bag to where I was like, yeah, I understand why this was $5.
Right. Oh yeah.
Oh, this quality is great. So
yeah, I'm a bag person. Actually, my secret is if you want like some good designer bags, Rent the Runway. You can obviously rent them, but a lot of people don't know that if you are a Rent the Runway member, they have clearance sales a lot. And they have like Rebecca Minkoff, they have Tory Burch, they have a lot of like bigger names. And I mean, you can get these bags sometimes for $50-$60. And you know, they might have a mark or they might have a scuff, but like Shopbop is great. Rent the Runway is really great if you really want some designer stuff for cheap, especially like towards the end of the year when they're trying to get rid of a lot of stuff. They really, really heavily discount a lot of their bags. This is one of my favorites. I carry it all year round. It's from, you know what, I can't pronounce this and I'm about to butcher it because it's a French name, but it's Senrev. I think you've heard of it, but it's the bag that like doubles as a backpack. So you can wear it as a backpack. You can wear it as just like a regular bag. I got this like 3 years ago and it is the most durable, amazing bag ever. I wear it as a backpack. I travel with it. It fits everything except my laptop, but it is like one of my go-to bags. So I'm a little bit of a mix. Like I really like investment bags. I truly, truly believe like if you really like a bag, invest in it. I mean, that's a more expensive piece, but I've had it 3 years and it doesn't have a mark on it. And I tear that thing up. So I'm a very big, like, buy like cute bags, but buy like investment bags that you know that you can use over and over again.
And I think that's for my day-to-day bags. Those are ones that I would invest. I'm like, I'm going everywhere where it, you know, it's worth the money investment versus things that I make hours here and there. Those are the ones I'll go and get Target and H&M and stuff like that.
All right, and my last one,
and then
my last one is hats.
I always keep a pair of strappy nude.
Yes.
I love a good hat. Do you have a hat wall?
No, I just have them like stacked in my closet. but I have like a million of them.
I got
And they're all from and they're like all from Target.
I love those. Oh, that's pretty.
They're all Target. I think
Target has
that's the thing. Like these hats can get so expensive. So hats are a nice year-round thing
from Target because I have a big head and
me too. My head is also big.
and then so I got fun like black heels. Have these in nude and in black. I keep those year round. They're dressing and go with everything. They're a good neutral. Pair of fun booties. I love these. I got these from a local boutique called Southern Muse. They look the snakeskin print just to add a little flair to your everyday outfit. And then I also found a pair of nude ones. I've been looking for this color for like 2 years, and these are from Naturalized, and I actually found these at Nordstrom for like $40. So the Nordstrom rack, I mean. And so I try to find shoes that are a little bit fun, a little bit playful, but they're really versatile, and they'll go with a lot that's in my wardrobe.
I love that. I also love shoes. I have a lot of them. But I'm more of an investment shoe person. Mm-hmm. So I would like spend money on my shoes because I wear the heck out of them.
Yeah.
My favorite shoes, which people have literally called me out for, are my Fendi heels, and I have like 4 pairs of. No shame, but people are like, Denise, don't you almost in a different color? And I'm like, look, they are comfortable. I can wear them I've like literally, like I remember for Fashion Week one time I wore them and I was walking like miles in them. So I am a huge investment shoe person. I'm very big on like wear over time sort of person. So some of these Fendi heels I've had like 3-4 years, and I mean they just need to be repaired now.
Mm-hmm. That's great. What do these heels look like? Do you have a pair you can show?
I don't know if I do. Hold on. I'm awful. I really thought I brought them with me, but I didn't. No. But I will send you a DM with a photo of me wearing them. But they're great. I love them. Oh, it's 8.
Oh, wow. I wonder if there's anything else for them to ask us, if there are any other questions.
No, I think that's it. I think we were like, wrapping it up. Where do we, I think the only thing I don't know is like where we're sending that Pinterest link for the board.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be shared in the comments, but I'm not logged in, so I can't see if it's posted anywhere.
Yeah. This is so weird. Here we go. Let me throw it into. Okay, I threw it on YouTube.
Okay.
So, hopefully people can see it. I tried to pin a lot of stuff, but I will leave with this. I can tell obviously you're kind of the same way, but I would say we're both very approachable. So if there's anything outside of this conversation that you need, like feel free to DM me. If you have questions, you can DM me. I'm not always great about responding to DMs, but I promise I will get to it. If you need anything else, I am here. I'm all ears. If there's something you need to talk about, something that you heard during this discussion, you're like, hey, I want some clarification on that, I'm around. Just, hit me up.
I am the exact same way. Feel free to DM me, shoot me an email. That's about it, because I'm like, you can't put a message in a bottle to send to me, but I'm very approachable and like to talk to people. So, because that's what this is about. It's about community. I do have one question for you with blogging. When you got into blogging, did you set for this to be your full-time thing?
No. No. It's funny because I think I spoke about this at the beginning, but my dad is the one who helped me do photos for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember all the time I'd be like, oh man, this girl that I follow got these things gifted. Like, I wonder when that's going to be me. You know what I mean? And I still do that. Like, I've worked with huge brands and I'm still like, when am I going to work with this brand? Right. Or when am I going to work with them again? Or so no. And it still doesn't feel real. Like, even now, like when I go to events or somebody sends me something or I get a PR box, it's still surreal. Even though it's been 7 years and it's been like 5 years of PR stuff, I'm still like, wait, what is this? I can't believe they're sending this to me, you know?
That's how I am. I'm always in a state of shock and was like, wait, you know who I am? This brand knows me? You're sending me something? Like, I'm not jaded by it at all. I'm so appreciative.
All right, well, for me, this was a good time.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yes, perfect. So that is our Pinterest board. We pinned a bunch of stuff to it. I will probably pin some more stuff as I go because I'm on Pinterest. So, but I do know that there is a good mix of like outfits. I know we pinned some hats. I pinned some boots. We pinned a bunch of accessories on there. So there should be a good mix of stuff to kind of get a sense of like what we're thinking. For me, I will leave you with this. I know it is becoming fall, and I know we love to like stick to neutrals to fall. So I am your reminder to please wear color in fall and winter, and do not be afraid to wear color in fall and winter, because I promise you, you will stick out in comparison to everyone else. So I am your reminder to please wear color.
I love that. What can I say for me? And I think I'll do this based on today. Find you some good denim. I actually I don't know if you've tried on American Eagle's Outfitters jeans. Today was my first time. I left with 3 pairs. I'm very excited, especially one of them, which is a distressed light washed flare that I have been looking for years. I am so ready to wear these with everything. So invest in your denim. Find some new styles so that you can play around with your outfits, because denim is everything.
And a reminder that American Eagle is a throwback. I wore it in middle school and high school. So if you need another throwback that you want to fulfill your skinny middle school dreams, Abercrombie also carries plus size now, and their jeans fit amazing for plus size.
Where are some of your favorite places to shop that we can tell people?
a.k.a. is one of my top ones. I work with them. I have a partnership with them, but I will sing their praises consistently. a.k.a. ASOS is a really good one. ASOS, I love it. I would die for ASOS. Fashion to Figure, which is New York Company's plus size. A lot of people don't know that Fashion to Figure is a New York company. Yeah. So Fashion to Figure is owned by New York Company. They are great. They have a lot of great fitting stuff. They have a lot of trendy stuff. I shop at Shein. Yeah, those are like I would say my go-tos. But I do shop all over the place. I do Shop Up. I do Revolve. I know a lot of people don't like Revolve, but I really like some of their stuff. Yeah, I do Rent the Runway a lot. So if you are looking for plus stuff, Rent the Runway is really great if you're trying to just wear stuff once or twice.
Okay. I do a lot of H&M. I found stuff with Shein, Pretty Little Things, Boohoo. They are great for if you're looking for nightlife or vacation travel type pieces. You can find a lot of stuff there because I did that when I went out of town this summer. Of course, Target, because everybody loves Target. Shop Bob. I've never shopped at a.k.a, but I have gotten some pieces from Lane Bryant that I enjoyed. My favorite pair of denim up until about 2 months ago was from there until they finally ripped. What else? And then I just say some of the local boutiques, wherever you're based, just go in on, regardless of what size you wear. Pick it up, look at the quality, and try it on, because you never know how it's going to fit.
Yes. And also, if you are willing to spend a little coin Good American has amazing jeans. I have like 2 pairs, and I got them both from Rent the Runway. Like I rented them, and then I ended up buying them. But Good American's jeans to me are like, I love them. So that is
Try
it.
those out. Okay. Well, it was so talking to you today.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you to We Are Memphis for hosting us and learning a little bit more about Memphis plus size. Look at me, I did it right the first time. A little bit more about Memphis plus size and Chicago plus size and how we differ, but obviously how, even though we're like a little bit across the country from each other, that struggle for curvy women is still kind of the same.
Like this was so fun. So we'll talk to you guys later.
Yes, thank you guys so much. I think that's it. I don't know. Do we log out? Like what?